guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the one tag that rules them all. This was created by Celestia and Holly from Lovely Day with Holly. I will leave links to their videos and channels down below so you guys can check them out. Yeah, these are all just various questions dealing with obviously the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, both the movies and the books, and I thought this would be a perfect time to do that since the Middle-earth readathon is going on right now in the month of October. So yeah, I thought I'd get on this bandwagon and do this tag. There are two parts to this tag. The first part is just basic standard questions about books that you are matching to certain things from the Middle-earth world, and the other one is strictly more about Middle-earth and Tolkien-esque, so I will be winging the second part. I've already prepared for the first part. So without further ado, let's get into it. The very first one is hobbits, a character who is a real homebody. This one was really hard for me to think about for a minute, but I did come up with one person, and that is Rhenna from the Blades of Actar. I would pretty much call Rhenna a homebody. She doesn't really care much for this whole adventure thing, and she really doesn't want to deal with like assassins and trying to redeem them and stuff like that, but she kind of gets thrown into it, so yeah, I would definitely call her a homebody. Elves, a character that does not age normally. Okay, so I could have gone with an elf type character, like say from the Elven Alliance series or Moonscript or any of those other types of things, but I decided to go a different route, and I chose Tristan from The Girl Who Could See by Kara Swanson. This is it's kind of like a portal fantasy sci-fi novella, and Tristan kind of doesn't age the same way that Fern, our main character on Earth, does. He's in a different world entirely, and through the way that he's in this sort of kind of half and half state between his world and her world, he doesn't really age the same way she does, so yeah. Dwarves, a stubborn or very loyal character. Okay, for this one I went with probably the most loyal character you might meet, at least in this particular situation, and that is Willow from Guild Hollow by Lori Langdon. And Willow is extremely loyal because her best friend, what's his name? Ashton. Her best friend Ashton is basically accused of murder when he's 14. Yeah, and she basically, even after he's sent off to juvenile detention and all that crazy stuff, she still sticks up for him back at home, and even when he comes back into town and people are like, you know, stay away from him, she even tries to stay away at first, but then she's like, you know, he's my best friend, I want to help him out, so she's kind of just drawn back into him, and yeah, I would call her extremely loyal. Race of Men, a book with diversity in it. I'm going to steal Celestria's idea in this, and I'm going to choose The Ilion Chronicles by J.L. Knight, because there are multiple races of different, not really magical beings, but different types of beings. Like there's Creets, and there's Ryrics, and I'm pretty sure there's giants. There's different types of Dorlander, or no, that is the giants. There's different types of, like, men type species, and yeah, there's just a whole bunch of different races, so yeah. Wizards, a wise character. Okay. For this one, I also kind of went a slightly different route, and I chose Angelica from the Horse Angel series by Angela Dorsey. Angelica is a reoccurring character throughout the series. She is a horse angel. Basically, when horses call to her for help, she comes and helps them and their owners. So yeah, and she's an extremely wise character. She doesn't look any older than 17, but she's very wise, and she knows what to do and just has the right thing to say to people and stuff, even though sometimes she also needs help. Gollum, a book with a sympathetic villain. This one normally would probably be very hard, except I knew a character off the bat who is a villain who I'm not necessarily sympathetic towards him. I find him intriguing, and some of the things he does are like for extremely complicated reasons, where it's like sometimes you can feel sympathetic to what he has gone through, but also at the same time it's like, dude, you should not have done some of the things that you have done. And that is Siuan from Yona of the Dawn. Yeah, if anyone's read this series, you probably know what I mean. Siuan is he's a very complicated character. Sometimes you can like him, sometimes you hate his guts, and a lot of the other times he's just very complicated and you're not quite sure what he's doing, why he's doing it, why he did the things that he did, and so on and so forth. This author I do not know how to say her name, so I'm not gonna try to butcher that. She knows how to write characters because she can have the most hideous villains in here, and then she can do something with them, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I just start liking that person? So yeah, she's very good at characterization, and Su-won is no exception. Eagles, a book with an animal in the plot. Okay, so I chose a childhood favorite of, not really childhood, but younger me favorite of mine, and that is Chansey of the Murray River. This is, I'm choosing this one because Chansey is a horse. He is an albino Appaloosa, and he tells the story. It's basically kind of like a modern Black Beauty of a sort, and yeah, I love this book. I read it all the time. I've not read it in a long time, but I will always forever love it for that, and yeah. So, since Chansey narrates the whole thing, he is a major part of the story. Beorn, a character with mistaken alternate identity. Okay, this one was really hard to come up with because I was trying to come up with, like, alternate identity, like how, and, like, you know, without just, like, characters assuming things and stuff. So, I ended up picking Robin from Bluebeard and the Outlaw by Tara Grace. This is a Robin Hood retelling, and basically Robin, who's our Robin Hood character, she is the outlaw in the forest, but then she also disguises herself as Lady Robin to marry the Duke guy, who is basically our Sheriff of Nottingham. In this story, she basically disguises herself as a lady to marry him so she can steal his riches, but it's way more complicated in that when weird things start getting involved. So yeah, she basically has two identities, as the outlaw and as a lady. Morgoth, a sinister character. Okay. This one actually came to me right away when I was thinking that. And I'm picking Satan. I mean, you can't get much more sinister than Satan. And he is a villain in the Life After series, especially in the last book, Dominion. So, yeah, I decided to go with the ultimate evil person of evil people. So, yeah. Merry and Pippin, an iconic duo. This one I cannot come up with anything until I decided to kind of bend it a little bit, and I decided to go with two characters who are not in the same series or even in the same book, but they are in the same genre, and they're always mentioned together, and that is Katniss and Triss from the Hunger Games and the Divergent series. Most videos or anything else, recommendation list of YA dystopian, you will see both of these books, both of these series on that list. Iconic duo mainly because they're always just listed together. The Ring, a book with a significant object as part of the plot. I actually have two for this one. First is going to be, well, kind of a repeat because I already mentioned the series, and that is Yona the Dawn. There's a hairpin that Yona is given that becomes a very significant part of her journey of learning to let someone go. I don't know if I can find a picture. Well, if you can see it, it's this hairpin right here. So yeah, it's this hairpin. So yeah, that is a significant part of Yona's personal journey. The other book I thought of that has an object as a significant part of the plot would be Angel Eyes, the angel halo that Brielle is given from Jake. Why does that sound weird? Given to her from Jake. Yes, that would be correct. So why does it sound weird? I don't know. But yes, because the halo does have a significant part in this entire trilogy. Hobbiton. Hobbitown? Hobbiton. I think it's Hobbiton. Let's try this again. Hobbiton, a book showing a simple, quiet lifestyle. And for this one, I'm picking a book that I don't know if I've shown this book on my channel before. If I have, I don't remember, and it was probably only once, and that is, it's actually an old favorite of mine, and that is Chasing Jupiter by Rachel Coker? I'm not sure how to say her last name. This is Christian historical, and basically we're back in the 70s? 60s. The 1960s, and it's a very chill book for the most part, very emotionally, just will get you very emotional by the end, but for the most part it's a very kind of chill book, just showing Scarlet, is that the name? Yes, Scarlet's life just in her this one summer with her brother and their friend, and yeah, it's just very chill, very, I wouldn't call it quaint, but it is very more a quiet lifestyle than, say, what we have nowadays. The Fellowship, Found Family. I could have gone with the Alien Chronicles for this one, but I'm trying to use different books. I could have actually gone with a number of different books, but I decided to pick The Mercenary and the Mage duology by Selena R. Gonzalez, and most specifically Regulus and his kind of like band of knights. They were all formerly mercenaries, but when Regulus became a lord, they kind of all quit their mercenary thing because they all wanted to stick together, and he knighted them. And yeah, they are just a great group of individuals, and they always have Regulus's back, and I just love them so much. They are a great group of people, and I would love to hang out with them for a day. Two Towers, a book with a significant landmark in the story setting. This one was super hard because I don't really remember much of like settings and different landmarks and stuff. However, I did remember this, and that is the clock tower in the Madge Ford series Gate of Myth and Power by K.M. Shea. This clock tower, it's very significant for our main leads, Chloe and Noctis's kind of relationship. It kind of provides a like, it's like a, what would you call it? Not really like a signpost. It's like a almost physical manifestation of their relationship and things that happen there and stuff, and things keep happening around this clock tower throughout the series. I'm pretty sure the last book, even in the last book, I'm pretty sure throughout all three books, the clock tower makes an appearance in some way or another. So yeah, and it's very significant to their story. So yes, I would say the clock tower from the Gate of Myth and Power series. Return of the King, a story with a royal element. This is a series I have not mentioned because I read this long before I started a booktube channel, and I am actually planning on rereading the first two books and hopefully continuing the rest of it. That is the Tales of Tarsarella series by Olivia Lynn Jarmusch. This is the old cover version. There is a new cover. I'll put it up here so you guys know what to look for. And yeah, this is basically kind of like the Princess Diaries, but it's Christian. So it's basically Tarsarella is this like European country that is under royal rule and stuff like that. So we have princes and princesses and all the royal things. And yeah, I remembered I really, really liked the first two books when I read them. So yeah, I still hope I like them when I reread them now. I have the hardest time saying this word. The Silmarillion, a book that spans many years. I had a different book idea for this one, but I decided to actually go with this one instead because honestly, I think this one technically goes for longer. And that is the Dragons in Our Midst saga, as I call it, by Brian Davis. The first series, Dragons in Our Midst, like, it starts when our main characters are 16, 17, they're teenagers. And then the second series, Oracles of Fire, that actually goes back in time to biblical times in the first book, then up to present day, and then they're still teenagers in that one. And then the third series in this saga, Children of the Bard, is these characters are now adults and their children are teenagers. So this spans a long period of time through multiple books. So yeah, I thought it would be the perfect answer for this prompt. Potatoes, a book with memorable food in it. Now, I don't normally remember food in most books, but the most creative foods that I would actually honestly like to try in real life is the multitude of sweets that that the author comes up with in the Keeper of the Lost City series by Shannon Messenger. Yeah, there's multiple different types of food and sweets. I know the author has said before that she has some of the recipes on her website. I've never actually looked them up, but yeah. I really like the sound of most of these treats in these books, and it's a reoccurring thing, so any book that you pick up has them in it, and yeah, so definitely food I would want to try in this series. All That Is Gold Does Not Glitter, a character who is more incredible on the inside than they seem at first. Okay, I could have gone with multiple different characters for this one. I decided to go with another book that, if I've mentioned it on this channel, it's only been once, and that is Archer from In 27 Days by Alison Gervais? I'm not fully sure. Gorgeous cover, by the way. I really like the cover. This is kind of a time travel contemporary story that deals with mental illness, because basically our main character Hadley goes back in time to save Archer from committing suicide. So, and she has 27 days in order to change Archer's fate, because if she doesn't in 27 days, he will kill himself. So, in Archer at first, he's very kind of standoffish. He's very much doesn't want to be Hadley's friend. He doesn't want her around. And you kind of think at first he's like this really gruff person, but then as you get to know him more, as Hadley gets to know him more, you realize that he is a really caring person. He just puts up these walls all the time just to make sure that people don't hurt him and stuff like that. So very understandable reasons, just very hard to make friends. So yeah, he is definitely a character who seems one way on the outside, but he's really somebody else on the inside. You Shall Not Pass, a series that shouldn't have continued as far as it did. Okay, most series I am perfectly fine with them continuing or even having add-ons. However, I do have a pet peeve, and that is adding books to a series years upon years later when the series has already ended. And for this one, I'm looking at the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. Because if you're anywhere in the book world, probably on Instagram too, I would assume this is going around on YouTube as well. There's a 6th book that has been added to the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I checked the dates between the last book, the 5th book, and this one. It's been 14 years since he ended the original series. Why is he now just adding a 6th book, that number, to an already really popular series that, and he's got a million more that are other books that are just as popular? And why not just start a 2nd series starring Percy and just title it something else? Why are you slapping it on to the Percy Jackson the Olympian series, which already has an ending that connects to a different series? So why are we now, because I like dealing with him when he's like in college now, and it's like, why don't you just make a different series? Because Percy Jackson the Olympians ends when he's in high school. It doesn't, because then the Heroes of Olympus series takes over for after that. So why are you now inserting the 6th book between 2 series? I have a major pet peeve with that, and I really don't like that, and I don't like the direction he's been taking with his books anyway, so I've stopped reading them. But yeah, that really irritated me when I found that out. It was just like, why are you doing this as the same series? Make it a 2nd series. You already have this whole interconnected universe anyways. Nobody would even bat an eye at it if you made a 2nd Percy Jackson series. They'd just be thrilled. But why are you slapping it onto the series that you already have and that was ended 14 years ago? It's just poor taste, if you ask me. I understand if authors add books like a prequel. Okay, I can understand that one. Like not that I'm happy about it, but when the Hunger Games author Suzanne Collins did that with her Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, that book, but that was a 0. Basically, it's the beginning book, so it's like, okay, it's just like history. Great, I can understand that. Or even authors adding books maybe a year later. They add another book to their series if it's already finished, and it's like short story collection or something like that. Or even just a continuation. Great, I can understand that. Or even just a book that has an ending, but it gets delayed for a few years, like with the Ilion Chronicles with Daikensei Heir. That book just got delayed. I'm cool with that when the book finally comes out, because the series isn't complete. I have a problem when really popular authors do this, though, because I can just tell when I'm looking at this is a money grab. If an indie author does it, it's slightly different, because yes, it could be seen as a money grab too, but also a lot of times they just came up with something and they're just adding it to the story. Really popular authors like this, I start getting suspicious that it's some sort of money grab. So there is that. And that is my rant. Thank you for coming to my rant session. Okay. I Am No Man. A book with an unexpected twist. Yeah. This book. Losing Brave by Bailey Madison and Stephanie Miller. This has the biggest twist of all time. I kid you not. The twist at the end of this shocked me. In fact, even when I reread it and I know the ending, it still shocks me. Mainly by just how well they wrote this book. So, yes. If you want a shocking twist of a YA type, psychological type thriller almost, this is a good book. I know it's not really that popular, but it needs to be because it's really, really good. Rings of Power, a controversial book. Okay, this is the only one I do not have anything to hold up with. And that is the Rurouni Kenshin manga series. You're probably thinking, what is so controversial about this series? I'm pointing this out for anybody who knows the manga community and knows all that and is wondering why I've been reading this series. There is no controversy around the story specifically, as more around its author. You can look it up for yourself. I'm not going to mention exactly what it is on here, but after I started reading Rurouni Kenshin, I did learn about this with the author. He kind of did something that's kind of morally questionable and kind of illegal. Very much illegal and very morally questionable, but it has no reflection on the story itself. So I have done the separating the art from the artist, and because I really enjoy the Rurouni Kenshin series, I enjoy what is being said in that series and the characters and all that, and it has no reflection on the author's somewhat illegal activities. So yeah, I have made the executive decision to separate the art from the artist, and I'm judging Rurouni Kenshin based on its merits as a story, not its failings from its author. So yeah, that is my kind of opinion on that one. So yeah, take that as you will. All right, now we are going to part 2 of this of these questions, which is more based on Middle Earth and Tolkien's works and stuff like that. So we will just jump right into that. Question 1, which character do you personally connect to the most? Most of these questions I'm also going to be answering with the movie equivalent, because I do not read the books that much, and I don't connect with the books that much, sorry. So yeah, I will be basing pretty much all these questions on the movies. So, which character do I personally connect to the most? I don't know if I connect to anybody on a certain level the most. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Sam. Because I personally know what it's like to kind of be with people who are kind of their own worst enemy and are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, kind of like with the way Sam is always attached to Frodo and stuff. But yeah, maybe not that. But yeah, I do relate to Sam a lot because he's very loyal to Frodo. He's very will just do anything for him, and that's kind of the way I feel with like my family and stuff. So yeah, I would definitely say probably Sam was the closest one that I would feel a kind of personal connection to. Okay, question 2. What's your favorite and least favorite thing about Middle Earth? Well, my least favorite thing is that it doesn't exist, because I would like to live there, please and thank you, even if there's orcs running around. Orcs would probably be easier to deal with than some things that happen in the world. So, yeah. So, my favorite thing about Middle Earth, it's gorgeous. I mean, obviously I'm basing it off of the movies, where it's New Zealand, so technically, yes, I could see it. But yeah, it's a beautiful place. So yeah, and it has everything you could want, like, you know, elves and danger and adventure and nice and cool places to hang out in, and, you know, it's pretty. We're just gonna go with that. It's pretty. Okay. Question 3. Who's your favorite character? My favorite character is Aragorn. Always has been, always will be. I do specifically even remember when my mom read aloud the Lord of the Rings trilogy to me and my sister years ago for the first time. I do remember always feeling attached to Aragorn. Even though I didn't remember much of the books, I do always remember feeling like that. So yeah, Aragorn is definitely my favorite character. And especially more in the movie version, I also really like how they did Arwen. I know in the book she really doesn't have much of a part, but yeah, I really liked what they did with Arwen in the movies, so she would probably be my second favorite character. And Sam would probably be my third, because Sam is amazing, and I'm pretty sure everybody in the Tolkien fandom loves Sam. So, yeah. Okay. 4. How many of Tolkien's books have you read? I've only read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. So, 4 books. I don't know if I'll ever read some of his later books. I might in the future, but I don't really know if I will. So yeah. But those are the only ones I have read currently. Question 5. How do you feel about the Peter Jackson movies and the Amazon Rings of Power? I love the Peter Jackson movies. The Hobbit, the Lord of the Rings, I think he did a great job with both of them. They're just classic, iconic fantasy films. They're definitely just what embodies the Lord of the Rings for so many people, including me, who's not a huge fan of the books, but I love those movies, and it got me, yeah, it just gets me every time, especially because my favorite movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is The Two Towers, which ironically, as of now, is my least favorite book to read in the trilogy, at least when I last reread it. Obviously, this time I haven't gotten to it. I'm still in the middle of Fellowship, so we'll see about this time around, but yeah, the last time I reread it, I did not like Two Towers, and ironically, that is my favorite movie. So yeah, I love it. They also just put so much time, attention to detail. They followed the books as best they could, and just, you can just tell from watching the movies that everybody working on this project loved it to death, and it shows, and I really appreciate that, because I really like it when you can tell from the way the movie is just shown that people really, really care about it and stuff. So yeah, I really like that. The Amazon Rings of Power. What do I say about this without getting... Actually, yeah. I have not watched it. I do not plan to watch it, ever. Yeah, I have heard enough about it and seen clips of it on the internet that I have no intention of watching it. Mainly because it looks cheap. Like, it looks like a bad ripoff of the movies. The characters are awful. From what I've heard about how they changed Galadriel, I would not want to touch that thing with a 10-foot pole, because I like Galadriel and I do not appreciate what they did with her and her character. I've seen fight scenes from that thing, and I'm becoming a fight scene snob in my movies, and they're horrible. Also, like, totally stupid. And technically Amazon shouldn't even be making them, because they don't even have permission from the Tolkien estate to be adapting the Silmarillion. So technically, they shouldn't even be making it to begin with. I mean, I'm sure they're working around it so they don't get into legal red tape over the whole thing, because that's why it's so different. But also, it's just like, yeah, you shouldn't even just be making this. Just make your own fantasy shows and get some creativity. But then again, I'm talking to Hollywood, and they don't have creativity anymore. So, that little rant aside. Yeah, and I've heard enough about it. I've seen enough reviews on the Rings of Power that I will never be watching it, and I do not have a high opinion of it, and I really hope most people don't watch season 2 so it can crash and burn. That is my opinion. Okay. Question 6. Do you have any Middle-earth merch? I do not. But I did get, I will put a picture here of it, but I did get my mom a little Aragorn Funko Pop for her birthday last year, because I thought he was so cute. And I figured she would appreciate him, so I got him for her. But he's not mine, so that's why I don't have him to show. But I will put a picture up so you can see him and all of his adorableness. So yeah, but other than that, no, we don't really have any other Middle-earth merchandise around here. Pretty much, like, my mom has a bunch of the books and stuff because she is a huge Tolkien fan, which I take full credit of getting her into, because I got her into the movies. So I take full blame and responsibility for it, and I have no regrets. So, and yeah, that is the tag. I'm not going to tag anybody for this, because Celestia and Holly, they didn't tag anybody, or at least Celestia didn't. I haven't watched, as of recording this, I haven't watched Holly's video yet, so I don't know if she tagged anybody. But yeah, if you like this tag and you want to do it and you think this is so cool, feel free to be tagged. I'm very glad that Celestia and Holly made this tag. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, that's the tag. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!